Hi, guys. It's Sven from Badass Counseling. So we created the Badass Counseling group on Facebook, and it grew to well over 45,000 members. And we kept getting asked by folks for a support group, a growth group that's more intimate, gives more access to me, Sven, if possible. So the Badass Counseling team got together, and they created Community Plus. For a monthly fee that isn't cheap, you get direct access to me 2 times a month where you can submit your questions directly. Monthly drawings for a small group counseling session with me. Monthly drawings for one-on-one counseling sessions with me. Priority Pass access to go to the front of the waiting list for ongoing counseling with me. Priority Pass access to be considered to be counseled by me on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Direct access to my top 2 selling video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. Interviews with people who've had success in their soul journey, some well-known and some everyday folks like you and me. And a fantastic opportunity to meet and get to know other men and women who take their healing and growth seriously and who do the work. And a social community feed where folks share their challenges, their struggles, and their triumph. And so much more. So go now to badasscounseling.com. Click on the Community Plus sign-up page for premium content and direct access to me and to like-minded people who are committed to healing, growth, and creating a community of support and happiness.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep. He gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, people. It's great to have you here. You're looking so good today. And boy, am I great. So pleased to be here with you. My name is Sven Erlandson. I am hosting the Badass Counseling Show, as I am twice a week, every week for the last 3.5 years. I am joined in studio by my team. Rob the Rocket sitting next to me and KC over in the booth. We bring you 2 shows every week. One is a counseling episode where I counsel people on the show. The other is a lightning round where I'm just rapid fire answering people's questions, such as we're doing in this episode right now. Rob, speak to me, my brother. What say ye?
Just glad to be aboard, Captain. Let's sail on.
Well. I look forward to it. We're going to get started. We have Lush T10 asking on TikTok, ex cheated with her boss. She blames me for the divorce and said I shattered her. Why? Okay. Just for the record, Lush T does not say she blames me for cheating. To her credit, at least she doesn't try to pull that fast one. Although if she does blame you for that, Lush T, I need you to follow up your question with that fucking telling me, is she trying to blame you for the, for that? Okay, but you're saying, for now, I'm going to play the ball as it lies. My ex cheated with her boss. She then blames me for the divorce and said I shattered her. Why? Why does she blame you for the divorce, and why does she say I shattered her? Bottom line is this: your ex cheated her with her boss. I'm going to assume that you did not cheat first. I'm going to assume that. I'm going to assume you're a man of good faith and that you would have reported that had you done so. Therefore, this is exactly how I would treat it if it were a man saying this. Therefore, she is fundamentally trying to get away with the fact that she cheated on you. And she's trying to blame you, because as long as she can blame you, it keeps the focus off the fact that she did a fucking bad thing. She fucking cheated on you. And what's really fascinating is she's blaming you for the divorce. Sure, of course she is. Why? Keeps the focus off her. She says you shattered her. Oh, okay. If I shattered you, that's one thing. And if you divorce me because I shattered you, that is completely understandable. But to somehow cheat and blame that you're cheating on me, which you're not saying she did that, but it's almost implied, right? If I be very honest with you, why didn't she just divorce you? If you shattered her, why didn't she just divorce you? It's cowardice. Fundamentally, cheating is cowardice. You want to know why? Because there are plenty of spouses who shatter their spouse, hurt their feelings so badly, or ignore them, neglect them for so long. And there are plenty of spouses who have been shattered by their spouse, and they reach into the bag of options, into that basket, and they pick out something other than cheating. They pick out, let's go to therapy. They pick out, I need to just not talk to you for 6 months. They pick out, I'm going to, go talk to fucking some old person who's going to give me great advice. There are a million other options other than cheating. She chose to cheat. And she wants to blame you for the divorce. Fine, blame me for the divorce. Fine, blame me for shattering you. But you fucking cheated. Get off your high horse. But the bottom line is this. The bottom line is she cheated. She divorced you. And you're still wondering why she is saying you shattered her. Fundamentally, most interesting to me about this is you are still wondering about your marriage, about the divorce, about her feelings. And what that tells me is you are still wrapped up in her. You still have strong feelings for her. You still want her back, or you are still wanting back the fruits of having her in your life. In other words, you haven't let go. You are still very much looped into her. You're still trying to solve the equation of the marriage. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But what that tells me is, and you say, yes, I am totally. That's right. And so those feelings have to begin to come out of you. Oh, and Lush, basically, he follows up. He says she hasn't even admitted that it was an affair, says they just talked. But she parked outside the mall, had him pick her up and took her to his place. Okay. All right. You said, no, I cheated before we were married, but that was 10 years ago, before we were married. Yeah, well, she chose to marry you after that. I mean, assuming you told her about it. And then, that was her choice. But yeah, the bottom line is you are still locked up. You still have a lot of feelings wrapped up in her. And until you start flushing those feelings out of you, you are going to be obsessing over that woman for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or you'll stuff it down and it'll bite you in the ass later. Bottom line is you have to start flushing that shit out. How? Simplest thing, just start writing her some letters that you don't send. Do that one thing. Start going into all those feelings, welcoming them up, all the feelings of love, longing, missing her, lust, rage, anger, betrayal, all of those feelings. You have to start flushing that out, because until you do, you are so looped into her. All right, next question. D3 says on TikTok, how can I even begin to forgive myself after infidelity? I'm struggling despite making things right. Okay, so you are the one that cheated. I have no idea what the gender is of this person. Doesn't matter. How can I even begin to forgive myself after infidelity, struggling despite making things right? That's just so interesting. You've made things right. I'm just really curious what that means. Does that mean you've talked the other person into it? You've done something to win their trust? Do they know that you cheated on them? Presumably they have, because you say you've made things right. I'm just curious what the amount of time was between when they found out and now you having made things right. Because for someone to take you back after cheating, if it has been a short duration amount of time, they are either taking you back and quote unquote things are right, either A, because they are so insecure that they can't imagine not having you, and they need you in their life to confirm their sense of worth, and they can't live without you, not because you're so terrific, but because they can't bear the thought of being alone, or B, you somehow coerce them, talk them into it, promised, et cetera, et cetera. I'm really curious what that timeline is. But that aside, how can I even begin to forgive myself after infidelity? My real question is, the way you forgive yourself, you start by have you have to bring up all the feelings that you truly feel. You have to begin to journal about all of your feelings. You need to begin to write down assuming your contrition is real. To be contrite means to be humbled by the pain you have caused another person. If you truly feel contrition, you need to begin to write that out, journal that shit out. You need to begin to write letters to that person that you don't send, because you're not doing it for their benefit. You're not doing it to get anything from them. You're not doing it for exoneration. You said you've already made things right. You need to be flushing everything out on paper about everything that you know you've done and how you really feel. And even if you need to burn that paper so no one ever sees it, fine, do that. But you need to be flushing it out, flushing it out, flushing it out, and keep doing it. And the more you do it, and it's not even about forgiving yourself. That really isn't the issue. Because if you need to forgive yourself, that says you feel guilt. Great. Bring up all your feelings of guilt. Start writing about all your feelings of guilt, all your feelings of self-loathing. Write all of that out. It's not about forgiveness. You're trying to forgive to make your feelings go away. The way you can make your feelings go away is by bringing up all of those feelings and flushing them out of you. Next question. this person says he has forgiven me and he has supported us working on our relationship. I did openly admit it. That cheating was emotional, and over a week's time, he's forgiven me and he has supported us working on our relationship. You say, I haven't done that in years. Presumably you're talking about the journaling. I'm just feeling lost in the grief and hurt that I caused. Great. Those are exactly the feelings that you need to bring up. Those are exactly the feelings that you need to be journaling about. You haven't done it in years. Yeah. So that tells me you got a fuck ton more pain and anger and rage and sadness and everything inside of you. Furthermore, you've got to ask yourself, what was driving me to cheat in the first place? What needs in my own life are going unmet? And that's not an opportunity for you to blame your husband. That's an opportunity for you to really begin to assess yourself, because the mere fact that you were cheating in the first place, that is your own soul expressing something, and you've got to go into that feeling. What is it really expressing? And am I just stuffing that need down deeper, that want down deeper? And if so, there's a likelihood that need is going to manifest again, and it may not manifest in the form of cheating. It may manifest in some other form that has the potential to blow up your relationship, such as what? It could manifest in anything. If it's the longing to feel alive, let's say that's what you're not feeling that caused you to want to cheat, then your longing to feel alive could manifest in the form of gambling. It could manifest in the form of drinking. It could manifest in the form of wild behavior or whatever it might be. So you've got to go into what the hell drove me. You got to begin to really look at yourself. What the hell was driving me to even do that in the first place? Now you're really getting fucking honest with yourself. Now you're not just flushing out the feelings. You're getting at the root cause of what was driving me. And you don't ever need to share any of that with your husband, but you definitely need to go into it. And I strongly recommend you read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, because that's going to take you down deep into your own shit and force you to really look at it. All right, next question. All right. And D3 says, I appreciate this immensely. This is the year of trip soul searching for yourself. Yeah, especially on this one. You've got to go into what the hell was causing you to do all that. All right. Rob has a question over there on YouTube. Go ahead, Rob.
Yes, Erica says, I don't know how to grieve. My stepfamily didn't even call me when my father passed or invite me to the funeral. I am beyond angry, journaling things or whatever.
Yeah. No, you say, I don't know how to grieve. No, I guarantee you know how to grieve. But the mere fact that you say, I don't know how to grieve tells me I feel like I should be grieving. I want to be grieving, but I can't. Yeah, you want to know why? The same reason I had a client this week say to me, already say to me this week, I want to get into the anger stage. I'm so in the sadness stage. I really need to be in the anger stage. I was talking to a friend of mine, and my friend was saying that the thing that really got them past their, through their marital problems was that once they got into the anger stage. And I'm like, well, the fact that you want to get in the anger stage says you're not in the anger stage. What stage are you in? She says, I guess I'm just really confused. Okay, you're in the confusion stage. So how about just sit in the stage that you're in, complete the stage that you are in, and trust that whatever stage, quote unquote, is next will come when it's time. But you're trying to force the stages. And what do we learn from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in her stages of grief? It's not linear, first of all. You can't force it, third of all, and you're constantly toggling between, and you're never fully done. Okay, I'm now officially done with all my anger. Now I am ready for sad. That's not how it works. So in your case, you say, I want to grieve. Dude, read your male or female. I don't know which you are in this case, but it's like, read what you just wrote into us. You're like, they didn't even invite me. They didn't send me an invite. They didn't let me know. It's no shit. You're not ready to grieve. You're so fucking pissed off. And I got to be honest with you. If I were in your shoes, I'd be livid as well. How about you work on the anger stage right now? How about you write them a fucking letter that you don't send and telling them how fucking angry you are? How about you do that? Don't send it. There's no point. If you want to, go ahead. But that'll just light up some fireworks. And if you really want that shit show, go for it. What do I care? It doesn't affect me. I'm saying if your real goal is healing, then you got to get all your rage out. And you got rage. I fucking guarantee it. I'd feel rage. I feel rage for you. Right? I really do. I swear to God. So flush all the rage out. Then I guarantee you got grief on the other side of that. And that will begin to flow naturally. Because anger is a response to what? Anger is a secondary emotion in response to pain, past pain, present pain, or potential future pain. So all that anger you're feeling is because they've hurt you. And I'm betting they've hurt you yet again. And so all of your anger is in response to the pain you've caused, and the pain is sadness. And so they're making you feel sad deep down. And so as you get the anger out, that sadness towards them will come out, and also the sadness over the one you are grieving will come out. All right, next question. Rob, that was a good one. Thank you for saving that one just for me. All right, here we go. This one's from Lauren over on Facebook. My question, and I didn't read the whole thing first, so I may abort it. Sometimes if you guys are putting in long questions, I can't read it in advance and know whether or not. So, but I'll just play with it. My question, in your experience, is it natural for those on this deep healing journey to become so strong, connected to, and trusting in their own inner world and intuition and inspiration and wisdom that they no longer feel the need to ask others for guidance or even feel the need to bounce things off trusted people in their lives? Yes. That's my answer. Can we become our own guidance completely? Yes, that's my answer. However, that being said, I've been doing this shit a long time. Okay, I started my own deliberate spiritual journey at the age of 19. I am going to be 59 this year, all right? And so that's 40 years I've been doing it. And I don't really go to anyone for soul guidance or spiritual guidance. In fact, I don't do it at all. All right. And because my goal is simply to remove anything that's causing me to not hear my own voice. Now, are there occasional times where, am I looking for information in fields outside of my expertise? Yes. My girlfriend built an $80 million company in Manhattan. So when it comes to my businesses, I have two. She more or less runs them, and before I make business decisions, I run them by her. Why? She knows infinitely more about business than I do, and I'd be a goddamn fool, right? When it comes to my computer, all right, do I make decisions? No, as I'm a moron with decisions, or fixing my car. No, I trust Gene, the family mechanic. All right, there's certain things. So am I asking advice on areas outside of my expertise? Yes. But when it comes to life decisions, and I'm taking in new counsel, but then I weigh that inside of me and I say, okay, so what decision feels right to me? Then I make the decision that feels right to me. But outside of my own areas of expertise, I'd be a fucking moron not to seek information. But in the end, the decision, I go with what feels right to me. And I'll be very honest with you, there are times when I don't have a clear decision. And in those times, I let the decision go. It's not time yet. All right. But ultimately, the way to trust your own voice, your inner voice more and more, if you only do one thing for the rest of your life, you only hear one thing I ever say, just do this one thing. You need to go inside, go deep inside, and keep extracting the voices that are not yours, which is what the books are for. There's a Hole in My Love Cup and Badass Wisdom. Just keep going inside and extracting all of those voices. Anything that undermines you, bleeds you, bores you, numbs you, anything that sucks your life energy, anything that causes you to really doubt yourself, even when your intuition is telling you something else, all those things, you need to be getting those things out of you so that you have one fundamental power source. And that power source, that is your intuition inside of yourself. That's your soul talking. That is the voice of the universe, the God voice. At the depths of who we are, the God voice, the voice of the universe, and your own self are indistinguishable. Amber, is your book in stores? Some stores, yes. The easiest way to get it, and the only place it's available as audiobook is at badasscounseling.com. But it's the translations are only at badasscounseling.com. But it's available as ebook and paperback and so forth. All right. Xana Doodle Doo asks this quick question. I like your name there, Xana Doodle Doo. That's cute. Can you talk about if you have ever needed to fire a client? Sure. Yeah, I've fired clients before. I mean, I don't like doing it, but I do it for the purpose of getting them going in the direction with someone who can really help them. Because for whatever reason, we're just not clicking. It's just not working. And the way I know it's not working is because what I am doing isn't moving the needle. And my work moves the needle quickly. And if it's not moving the needle quickly, I tell people right up front, listen, man, you're wasting your money. You're wasting your money. We are not clicking. And usually, if I'm being really, really honest with you, if I'm with someone and they are very resistant, I have a whole big bag of tricks that I use to get people to open up. And it usually works with most people, but some people are so resistant because they don't want to feel it. They don't want to look at their core beliefs. They don't want to go into their past. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not going to work with somebody like that. Why? Because it's fucking boring for me. You're just killing me. You're wasting my time. I'm called Badass Counseling for a reason. I charge the high rate I charge for a reason because I work with people who are fucking motivated to change. And usually the only people I get who are not motivated to change are people who are brought to me by their spouse. That's usually who it is. And so anyway, I don't so much fire them. I just say, listen, this isn't working out. I mean, I'm happy to keep working with you, but let's be really honest. You are resistant to what I'm saying. And I think you would agree that I'm not getting changes in your life. And that lets them off the hook. They can blame me, and that's fine. I really don't care. But the truth is, it's just not working. So yeah, there'll be times when I'll fight, but it's like one a year, something like that. All right, much more to come right after this short break.
You know, I've read so many self-help books, and I always get something good out of them. But when I dove into There's a Hole in My Love Cup, well, it changed me. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. My copy is very dog-eared and highlighted. Thanks, Sven, for writing it. I love There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and believe you will also. Order your copy at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back with a live taping of the Badass Counseling Show. All right. Terry Diaz, regular on the show, asks, is there something wrong with me if I've yet to be in the anger stage after a loss? No, nothing wrong with you. As I was discussing earlier, for those of you that are interested, look up Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She was the one that originally wrote, about the 5 stages of grief. And no, that every stage takes its own time, and there is no timeline for each stage after loss, after grief. There's nothing wrong with you. My only question would be, what are you doing to flush it out, Terry? Are you actively flushing out? There's no rush that you're in the that you have yet to be in the angry stage. That could be because you're still in the sadness stage. But you have a lot of pain inside of you, or you're still in the shock stage. That's okay. But just keep flushing your feelings out. Just keep facilitating the process. Keep it rolling. Keep the trains moving through the station. All right, next question. Patty over on TikTok says, I want to spend time with my adult kids over the holidays, but they have their life. And I'm sorry, Patty. That hurts. I know what it's like to not spend time with your kids over the holidays and want to. I know what that's like, okay? I really do. And it hurts. My question to you, Patty, would be, have you expressed your wants and needs to your kids that you want to? And if you do, and they still are going another direction, that's okay. And so what you have to do is you have to grieve over the fact that you're not going to be with your kids over the holidays. What we did in our home growing up, there were 6 of us kids, and we all were married at one time. And so what we'd do is we'd split Thanksgiving and Christmas with the in-laws. So one year, the Erlinson kids, we'd all be at the Erlinson house for Thanksgiving, and then everybody would go to their in-laws for Christmas. And oftentimes the in-laws were in different states. And then the following year, we'd go to the in-laws for Thanksgiving. Then we'd be at the Erlinson house for Christmas. Somebody asked me recently, so then what happened at your house, at the Erlinson house for Christmas when everyone was at the in-laws? I said, well, Mom and Dad probably had their own little Christmas. They probably actually liked it. If nothing else, it was much quieter. They didn't have their insane 6 kids and the grandkids and so forth, which I'm sure they miss, but you got to understand, my parents were basically 40 when they had me. So by the time, I'm in my 20s, 30s and, kids and spouse, I'm sure, all my siblings were even older than that. I'm sure, the quiet was nice. And there is something beautiful about a peaceful holiday, whatever that is, or maybe it gave them opportunities to go do other things. But the bottom line is you have to grieve that you're not with them, but make sure you're making your wants known. But in the end, yes, they are having their own life. And life is long though, Patty. Life is long. And needs and wants change. And they're in a stage of having their own life now, but don't be surprised if that changes. But let them have their life, and you just flush your feelings out and create new traditions of your own. All right, next question. Jen asks, how do you heal from an emotional and mentally abusive marriage and you're now being dragged through the court with no money? Okay, you're asking how do you heal question. You're not asking what should I do about being dragged through the court with no money. Okay. Jen, I have literally gone through exactly what you were talking about. Literally. And so I know it. And what do? You do what you do with any sort of massive amount of feelings. First of all, Jen, to heal from that is going to take some time, but time alone isn't going to help you heal from this. As I've said on a few other questions here, you have to be actively flushing out your feelings. Otherwise, all of those are just stumbling around in here. And life is worse when you keep your feelings inside, people. You will make your worst decisions in life when you are keeping your feelings inside. You will feel heaviest. You will feel most bogged down. You will feel most lethargic and most confused in life when you are bogged down by feelings that you keep inside. If you do not flush it out, it's only going to cause greater problems later. All right, next question. Zachary Poe asked the question on Facebook. I guess my main question is it right to just walk away because she doesn't enjoy time? Because I can't get any personal time outside of her sleeping at night anymore. And you don't give any sort of indication if you're married or dating or what it is. Is it right to just walk away because she doesn't want to enjoy that time? You don't say what that time is, because I can't get any personal time outside of her sleeping at night. And my question would be, why can't you get any personal time? How about just say, I am taking personal time, and I'm betting she caterwauls or she whines or she complains or whatever. So take your personal time anyway. And she has to deal with her feelings. Now, I'm willing to bet you've done that, and she has big feelings and she complains or she crabs at you or whatever. So there's a price for you taking personal time, isn't there, Zachary? So then you're basically at the point of, okay, so I don't want to deal with taking the personal time and then having to deal with her brushback on that, right? Right. And at some point in your life, then yeah, is it okay to just walk away? Sure. If you're in a relationship that isn't feeding you, that isn't, allowing you to be who you are, and personal time is very important in relationships. Absolutely. It's important to you. That's all that matters. For some people, it isn't important, but for you, it is. And if it's important enough for you that you want that in a relationship, then yeah, walk away and be kind about it, but be firm and walk away. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, next question. Somebody says, so how exactly do you flush things out? All right, multiple ways. Some people go to therapy, talk to their therapist, flush it out, flush it out. Problem with therapy oftentimes is if you're with an inexperienced therapist or with someone who just doesn't do the deep stuff, is they're going to keep you on the surface stuff. You're going to talk about what happened this last week. And that's not going to accomplish anything long term. But if you got someone who will take you down into what the real roots of your pain and your core beliefs are, which isn't as common as you might think, they will help you flush it out by digging deeper and helping you have new realizations and talking about it. We flush it out by putting words to things. We never know what we really think. We never know what we really feel until we're forced to codify our thinking, put it into code, words. But the truth is, you can pay a therapist or you can do it on your own, or both. And pencil and paper, start journaling, start writing about what you're feeling, what you're really thinking, how it really felt, why it felt that way. Well, when did that feeling start? Well, what would it feel like to not have that feeling? Or who taught me to feel that way? Or also, I talk about writing people letters that you don't send, how you're really feeling towards that person, what's really upsetting you, what you're most wanting, what you're most not wanting out of this relationship, what you most fear happening. Those are ways. And I talk about this in all of my books, really. But a great one for getting you started, if you're not used to flushing things out, if you're not used to journaling, I strongly recommend starting with Badass Wisdom, which was my follow-up book to There's a Hole in My Love Cup. This one is Badass Wisdom is a 366-day daily meditational, inspirational book with journaling exercise and so forth. That'll basically kick your ass. Not as hot and heavy as a Hole in My Love Cup, but it'll take you deep and it'll get you in the habit of journaling and flushing shit out. All right. Here's a question. Julie Dossardy asked a question on Facebook. Is radical acceptance a game changer to closure and forward movement in life? Radical Acceptance was a book that came out approximately 15, 20 years ago. And I know the person's name who wrote it, but it's just not coming to me right now. Is radical acceptance a game changer to closure and forward movement? In other words, accepting anything, accepting basically all things, that all things are life. Yes, it is a game changer. However, it can't happen effectively without also simultaneously getting out of you, purging out of you all that you feel. Because otherwise, those feelings are still inside of you. You can accept And ultimately, this is really what it means to have a great relationship with pain. Those of you who follow the show regularly, Rob, I'm going to ask you a question here in a second. Those of you who follow the show regularly know that about a year ago, Rob got a cancer diagnosis, and he also his wife left him. Extraordinarily painful year for Rob. Rob's done a lot of healing work.
My brother died at the same time.
And brother died. All of this happening literally in 1 week. He didn't get the diagnosis in the week. He started radiation. His wife left him, and his brother died, all literally within 48 hours. Right? Radiation started Monday, and you got the other two things on Wednesday.
Yeah, the previous Wednesday.
Previous Wednesday, right. So during all of that, it felt like, these were horrible things. And they were horrible things. Since that time, what is your relationship with those painful things happening in your life, Rob?
Well, I've become intimately familiar with all those painful things, and I've examined exactly where my feelings had originated, greatly helped by listening to you for the past 400 hours. That's a compliment. And it's difficult, and it's ugly. And when you get really down deep in the muck and you pull out the truth, you really feel very happy. It's very satisfied in yourself.
And so what does that make you feel towards the actual pain that happened? You hated it when it happened. And when you were going through it, what's your relationship or your view on pain now?
It's the best thing that could have possibly happened. Well, as you say, change does not occur until the pain gets bad enough. In this case, the pain was overwhelming, and it turned into my best friend, because now I feel lighter and more serene than I ever have in my life.
Right. And at 76, you have one of the best relationship you've ever had in your life.
I would say so.
As far as intimate relationship, your brother's in a great place. I mean, he's passed, but he's been relieved of a lot of pain.
Yep.
Is that safe to say? Am I
It is safe
overstepping?
to say. He had every ailment known to man. And I've been very lucky that I've only had one relatively curable cancer. They tell me I'll die of something else now, so I'm very grateful for that.
And we are grateful for that. And the cancer, you came through it, in sparkling and shining colors, and so it's interesting how our relationship with pain on a much different level. I've got this example. Okay. One of the guys who I counseled and became a very good friend of mine, he was an NCAA soccer coach, women's soccer coach, and his team lost in the national playoffs. And he said to me, he talked about how his goalie gave up the game-winning goal, obviously, and how months later she was just distraught over it. She was a junior in college. She was just distraught. And he knew that he had to help her reach some sort of, something with this goal that she felt she let down the team, et cetera, especially since she was going to be coming into the next season. And I don't know if he came up with an idea or this just hit him lightning bolt. It wasn't from me, but I loved what he said. He said, Sven, I went to her and I told her she needs to make that goal her friend. I said, what does that mean? He said, I just told her, you have to accept it, that this memory of this goal is going to be with you forever. It's your friend. And what is your friend trying to teach you? Well, my friend taught me to go left when I should have gone right, and what else? And so on and so forth. And he began to teach this goalie to use it as a learning opportunity, but also our greatest pain ends up being our greatest friend, not just because it teaches us, because it deepens us, it strengthens us, it gives us greater moral character, greater, deeper character, strength of character, but it also teaches us more about life. And he began to teach her then, and we went further into that, and then he went into further with her. But this teaches us about life, that this is not the last screw up you're going to have, goalie, in life. This is not the last grand disappointment time where you're going to disappoint people or feel like you've disappointed people. And how you respond to this one is a wonderful setup for how you're going to respond when you disappoint your spouse or your children or a parent or a boss or whatever. And this is just sport. In that great quote by MacArthur, on the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other fields and on other days will bear the fruits of victory. Right. All right. We got time for several more questions here. All right. Next question.
Few more.
All right. Gav Bees says on TikTok, asks, when processing trauma in journaling, is it better to answer prompts or just free write? Both. I oftentimes start my journaling with, things like, what am I feeling right now? Sometimes I learned a journaling technique, and it's a form of a gratitude list. I'm not a big believer in gratitude lists. Nothing wrong with them. I just doesn't really help me. This person said, write at the top of your page, what am I grateful for? And then write everything you're angry about, everything you hate, everything you want to swear out, and put it in your strongest language. And the person writes, and most people say, well, why would you be grateful for that? And the person says, because you're alive. Because you have all these wonderful, strong feelings. And so, dude, when I'm journaling, I'm like, fuck this shit. I fucking hate blah, blah, blah. I hate this workout. God, I just missed that extra 10 pounds on that lift. And, I'm so pissed off, blah, blah, blah. And it's all under the heading of, I'm grateful for this today. And it makes me feel good. It gives me a feel good about getting all my feelings out and shit like that. But I am always in journaling. When I'm actively journaling on an issue, I'm prompting myself with questions like, why? Why am I feeling this? What's really going on inside of me? What is I always come back to this, and I talk about this in the book, Badass Wisdom. I always come back to questions like, why? What's likely driving my behavior? What do I most fear happening? What's the fear I'm not seeing? What's my potential blind spot on this? What was potentially going on in that other person? What am I missing in this whole equation? And always, why? Also, another elucidating question is the question when. Well, when did this start? When did this feeling start? You will be surprised how much of your what and your whys you will find insight to by answering when. Well, when did it start? Well, why not 2 years earlier? Why not 2 years later? Why did it start then? Okay. Prompt yourself with questions. Why? I think the brain is kind of like a computer that if you give it a question, it'll answer. And so why am I feeling this way? Why? What am I really wanting to happen? And always that question, what am I most afraid of in this situation? All right, next question.
Sven, over on YouTube, Little Miss Lena says, been on the outs with my sister for the past 10 years, more so in the past 5. This hurts my mom. She wants us to work it out. I don't think that's necessary. I've accepted things have changed. Should we? Interestingly, she says, should we instead of should I?
Right. Well, should I would mean that you have all the power to work it out without the help of your sister. But should we work it out? The fact that you don't want to, you feel obligated to your mom. The mere fact that you're asking the question says you feel obligated to do it to your mom. I would ask you the question, why do you feel obligated to do it to your mom? Do it for your mom. Or what do you most fear happening if you don't do it for your mom? Is it that you fear disappointing your mom, hurting your mom's feelings? And then my question becomes, what percent in your life were you taught that your mom's feelings are more important than your feelings? And maybe it's 0, but maybe it's not 0. What percent in your life were you taught that mom's feelings are more important than your feelings? I'd really be curious to hear the answer to that fucking question. All right. But then I would also want to ask you the question with regard to your sister. And if she gives me an answer on that one, Rob, go ahead and let me know. And I'd also want to know with regard to your sister, why is it you don't want to have any more interaction with your sister or amend with your sister? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just curious what your reason is.
Here we go. Little Miss Lena says, oh, I just feel I owe her so much. I guess that's the mom. Then
you didn't answer the question.
She also says, she's helped me in life a lot.
You didn't answer the question. Answer the question. What percent in your life have you felt like mom's feelings are more important than your feelings? That's the question. I don't doubt that she's helped you a lot and you feel a lot of gratitude. So you want to go against your feelings because you feel like to some degree I owe it to my mom or I want to make mom happy.
Here it is. Most of my life.
There it is, folks. I am so proud of you. Lena is her name?
Yes.
Lena, I am so proud of you. I put your feet to the fire and you got your toes got scorched a little bit, but you answered the question. Most of your life you have spent making with mom's feelings being more important than yours. Go ahead, Rob.
Lena says she raised us on guilt and manipulation.
You say she raised you on guilt and manipulation. Exactly. That's what's going on inside of you right now. The reason you feel like you should reconnect with your sister is because mom wants it and you are being manipulated by your guilt. What you need to do is get into your journaling, get into writing letters to your mom that you don't send, and journal about how all the guilt you're feeling regarding not meeting your mom's needs. But what you really need to do is go into the fact that you're feeling manipulated by your mom and that shit has been running you your entire life. You need to read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, because the bottom line is you're doing it out of a sense of your mom still owns you to some degree. The mere fact that you're even still feeling like you should says your mom fucking owns you. Now, here's the real fucking tragedy, Lena. Go ahead, Rob.
She says, so then the relationship with my sister is okay to be left this way?
Yes. But what I was just about to say, you can leave the relationship with your sister however you want. It's your life. It is literally your life, Lena. That may come as a shock to you, but it's your life. Now, here's the real fucking tragedy, though. The real tragedy is that if you had a mother who manipulated you and used guilt and so forth, I guarantee you and your sister as little kids naturally loved each other. But because of all that manipulation and guilt, I guarantee that love that you had for each other was not cultivated. That you existed to meet the parent's needs. If that's how the parent, even today, is still operating that way, the parent or parents basically turned you two against each other in one way or another. And as a result, your relationship with your sister got ruined by this very same parent who to this day is making you feel guilt and wants you to repair it. You have every right to walk away. This is your life. By the way, folks, can I give you a little tip? If there's a should, you shouldn't. All right. I'm going to take one more question here, and then we're going to call it an episode.
By the way, she finishes by saying, great advice. We were very close, referring to her sister. Until about 10 years ago, my sister changed a lot.
Yeah, the real question would be, what have you done to heal you? I would recommend actually healing you and then making the decision of whether or not, for now, you can go unhealed, you don't have to reconnect with your sister. I would recommend deep healing your own sense of self and then making the final decision. All right, so just table it for now. You don't have to have any relationship with your sister, but you need to go into the book. There's a Hole in My Life. If you absolutely need to go in and heal, because obviously your mom still fucking owns you. All right, next question. Here we go. The next question is from Jonah. And Jonah asks, when are you ready to start dating again? Well, after all the healing and work you do filling your cup. Well, I guess my question is, what makes you think you're not ready to start dating again? Most people are eager to jump back in and just oftentimes jump in too soon, but you're almost implying, Jonah, that I've been holding back. I've been doing my healing work, which is great. God bless you. And so when are you ready? When you want to, when it feels right, then go in. And the truth is, you go back in and just go in one step at a time, opening up a little bit. How does this person feel? And just know you got to get some reps first. All right. You're going to burn through some relationships and you're going to burn through some dates and so on and so forth. But the goal is not to tune in so much to the other person, but how am I feeling right now? Am I saying what I really feel in a situation? How much courage? Because you've been doing the healing work. You've been tuning into you. All right. So you've been in the laboratory, but now you're taking that lab work and you're taking it into real life experience. And so taking it into real life experience is a different deal because now you're actually going to be tested on what you've learned about yourself. And so this is going to be a great opportunity, but it's tuning into yourself and having the courage to act on who you really are. Oh, wait, Jonah follows up by saying, the sewage has been removed, but now you protect your peace completely. If you're protecting your peace completely, that is a statement of fear. You're afraid of losing your fear, Jonah. That tells me you have not gotten all your sewage out because you're living in a state of fear. Potentially. I could be off on that. But I'm willing to bet that you are afraid of going back into dating because you fear losing your peace. And I guess I wonder, why would you fear it? See, once you've truly done the healing work, you're not afraid. You go into a situation knowing there is really no way. Once you've truly done the healing work, and you'll have to do more as you go further into the dating process, but once you've truly done the healing work, You don't fear any situation. Why? Because it's never going to get to the point. If you're truly tuned into your own tuition and how you feel and what you think and what's really going on inside of you, it's never going to get so bad that you lose your peace. Why? Because unlike the past, you're going to catch it when it's small and you're going to act on it. That's the difference between the healed person and the unhealed person. The healed person is acting on it when it's small. Small things become big things. When you're healed, you say, you know what, that kind of hurt, and I need us to talk about that. And they say, I don't know what you're talking about. That didn't happen. Or I was just kidding around. No, I need us to talk about it. No, man, I'm not into that. Well, I can understand that. Thank you so much for the memories. I don't think this is going to work out between us. It's catching things when they're small, because and that means trusting you, trusting your feelings, and having the courage to speak it up. Because as long as you do that, it'll never get big. Rob, do you have thoughts on this particular issue?
You're talking to me? You're talking to me. There's nobody else here in this room. You are that. Listen, I did the lab work and I was very interested and eager to try it out in the real world. Uh-huh. And so I did a little field testing and I had a lot of not so great experiences.
Dating, by the way, folks, he means dating.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
But I had done the work so that I do feel like whatever happens now, and I think I'm in a really excellent, very balanced, very caring relationship right now.
Yeah.
But whatever happens with that, God forbid something should happen, then it goes south. I feel like I'll be okay this time. Uh-huh. And I take to heart everything that you just said, and you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
Well, it's funny because regular to the show, Devil Blues, says, have you seen the dating market today? The bar is so low. Rob has seen the dating market, and he's in a different dating market, an even more exclusive or narrower dating market.
Old dating market,
right? And I was in the dating market when I was in my late 40s, which was just roughly 12 years ago. Okay. And you say the bar is so low. The bar is only low if you allow it to be low, Devil Blues. And you guys have heard me say before on the show, and I'm not saying it's not frustrating. I'm not saying that. I know how that feels, okay? But after my second divorce, before I met the woman I'm with now, 10 years elapsed. I fell in love a couple of times, and short-lived, and I dated plenty of people, but it just didn't last. And it was frustrating. And I wanted love. I want love, right? But in the end, we don't choose love. Love chooses us. And I had to simultaneously, and this is where I talk about living with an open hand, to simultaneously, and I didn't originate that thought. That's the Dutch monk, I believe, Henri Nouwen, who wrote the book With Open Hands. And and the way I describe it, I don't even remember how he does it in theological terms, but the way I describe it is simultaneously going after what you want and letting go of what you want at the same time. It's partly, in the words of 38 Special, the 70s rock group, hold on loosely. Right. And it's being okay with the process, but we don't lower our standards. You don't drop that bar low. And it's simply, and it's just you going on with life, learning to enjoy my life as it is. And yes, it's frustrating. So I'm flushing out my feelings of frustration, et cetera, and just trusting that when it is right, it will come. And I got to be very, very honest with you. My waiting those 10 years, if I had to wait those 10 years to get the gal I'm with now, it was fucking worth it. That was absolutely worth it. And if I never have love again, to know that I had this one, it's like, well, that's pretty fucking good. And I had 2 great wives before that, but not like this. So yeah, it is frustrating. But you know what? We are all at the hands of the gods, or God, or universe, whatever your theology is. All right, folks. It's been great. These have been excellent questions. There was a lot of healing work that we talked about in this episode. This was good, and a lot of ideas talk about letting go and so forth. And it's always fun from one episode to the next. Sometimes we get in grooves. Sometimes it's all over the map. Each episode is fun, but this has been great. Thank you for your questions. For no matter where you have tuned in from, this has been fantastic. Rob, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, one comment online from Carrie. I think I have damage in my elbow from writing so much and journaling for years. Now it's so much more structured thanks to Sven.
Good for you. Good for you, Carrie. I'm proud of you. And the truth is, folks, the duration, just remember, as I talk about, I write this on my podcast, healing shouldn't take a long time. Healing is not a lifelong journey. It's not. Healing can go quickly, and it should go quickly. It is determined by how deep you go. There'll always be new things you have to recover from when your dog of 13 years dies, or if you go through a divorce, or your child has to go in for their third surgery. Yeah, that's going to be some new rock that's been plunked into your love cup. But as far as healing from the past, that is not a lifelong thing. All right? It shouldn't have to take a long time. And the amount of time it takes depends on how deep you are willing to go. And that's where the brass balls or the brass ovaries come in. All right, I know you love that phrase, Rob. So we're going to end it on the notion of brass ovaries. On behalf of my entire team here, Casey over in the booth who's shaking her head, Rob the Rocket, who is delightful as always, have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.